released in the middle of the pandemic, the most hyped, most desired, most difficult to get console of all time, yeah, the PlayStation 5, the Sony PS5, uh, it has now been out again for about 2 years since what November 12th, I think, 2020, almost 2 years, which means we've had enough time to observe it, use it, play it, want it, try and find it, wherever it may be. Uh, to such an extent where we now have an opinion. How good was this console? Was the hype justified? Is this next generation, really leaps and bounds ahead? PS5. What are my thoughts? If I'm completely honest, because I haven't played it in the last week, but I've enjoyed it while I've had it. The controller is exceptional. Like the DualSense controller really does feel like it's leaps and bounds ahead of where we were in the past. The haptic feedback is great. The triggers, adjustable triggers, are incredible. The graphics, when you're playing a game that really utilizes the power and efficiency of the system, looks beautiful. Not Horizon Zero Dawn. The second Horizon game looks great. Ratchet and Clank I really enjoyed. Um, there hasn't really been any changes yet. I mean, it's only been out for 2 years, so it's a bit before the Slim cycle and way before the Pro cycle. That's usually like 3 and 6 years in or so. They added new colors, new controllers, which is kind of cool. There's like a second generation ish of it where they've got like a newer fan in the PS5, which I think is a bit better. It's very, very minimal, very, very like cosmetic, slight changes. But the actual system itself hasn't made an impact on me. I'll be honest, hasn't made an impact on me. Back when D-Brand were doing the dark plates, I got dark plates and I got MKBHD sticker on the inside, which has been quite good. It means that it hasn't got as dusty as other consoles I've got that I've seen. It means the actual white panels are still in good condition. I took them off immediately, pretty much, put them in storage. But the controller gets really mucky and dirty, especially in the back. You can clean it quite easily, but it's just annoying that every couple of weeks you look at the back and say, "Oh, this is not." It's a bit nasty back here. But otherwise, yeah, very little impression on me. People have talked a lot about how the PlayStation looked. It's massive. It's got those big white panels. I don't mind it. I guess I've changed mine to black, so it's hard to really make a comparison. But I don't mind it too much. The only problem with it, if I'm being totally honest, is that it looks like it's because it's so big and flashy. Something that you should have like in the center of your room, or maybe not like literally the center, but you want to have it like on display. Mine's like tucked behind the TV, or it's like underneath on the TV stand. So it's like it looks nice. I kind of got used to the look of it and the shape and the design, but it doesn't really mean it. Like no one's really looking at it. It's always kind of hidden. It's cool every now and then. When I first got it, people were like, "Oh, it's like the PS5 down there. That's crazy. That's lit." But now that it's been out for 2 years, no one really cares anymore. And the design is not really as like eye catching as it used to be. It's still nice, still a cool design. But it's just a console, and it's just tucked away. So it's a more the design. It doesn't really do anything for me because again it's tucked away, but nothing like positive. But there are a lot of issues with it. Like it's very heavy. When I was moving out of uni earlier and I took it back home earlier in the summer, I was like I can't really put it in any box. There's no nice way to store this unless I bring back the original box. Um, it's not like stackable very well. And yeah, it's very, very heavy. Like I had to think about how I'm going to transport this. I guess typically you don't really move consoles around much. They just like go somewhere and they kind of stay there. But I had to move it, and it was annoying having to do such a thing. So that's frustrating. But away from the console, let's talk about why you even buy a PS5 in the first place. Um, and it's games. Games are cool. And if I'm honest, I see myself as a gamer. I've got a bunch of games right here. Some of the greatest games of all time. The PS2 collection we got right here. We got PGA Tour back when we liked Tiger Woods. We got Need to Be Most Wanted, of course. Tony Hawk's Underground. Some of the great Pro Skater. Come on, man. Some of the greatest games of all time down here. And the PS2's back there somewhere. Don't worry. But the when it comes to PS5, I've said this in my previous videos where I put out a video about 6 months, I think, of having the PS5 saying don't buy it. And if you haven't already gathered from my tone, uh, still don't buy it. It's still not worth it. And in fact, they've increased the price. You would have thought for 2 years, price would have come down a little bit, but they've increased it. It's now more expensive to get a PS5, and all of the games. I wouldn't say I miss my PS4 because it still feels nice. So the problem is I haven't got a 4K TV, so I'm not really utilizing the 4K 60 4K 60 features. But I'm getting the most out of having like a nicer refresh rate. Um, but yeah, it's still 1080p, so I'm not really benefiting too much from the graphics, although it does look smoother. The problem is that that's kind of all the games have. Ratchet and Clank I mentioned earlier had like a great feature where if you can like zip around the map, it's like it utilizes the power of the PS5, so there's not much lag. You can jump between universes quite quickly and efficiently. Sometimes there are a little like it doesn't switch instantly. You kind of tell that it's still loading a little bit in the background, but even then it's like a microsecond. It's not like there's no lag. You jump through here, it might get a bit brighter. You're like, oh, cool. Now it's fully loaded in. But it's like it's a beautiful game. It's an incredible game. Actually, use the power of the console again. There's triggers on the controller. There was a shotgun in the game. If you like half press it, it shoots once. Uh, if you like yeah half press it, it shoots once. Or if you like give it a proper press, it shoots twice. Both barrels. And there are features like that are incredible. But again, Ratchet and Clank so far, and like the Astro World game, whatever it's called, pretty much the only two games that use that. I mean, FIFA, you notice when players get tired, it's harder to pull the trigger. That's kind of annoying. But otherwise, it's like there's just not much. No game is really using the PS5 for what it is. So if I'm playing it as if it's a PS4 but with slightly faster refresh rate, is that worth £450? Or for you guys, is it worth £470? Or for £370 if you buy a discless version? Like, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, man. Especially in this time, the cost of living crisis, there's a lot of things going on. Like, that's not a petty amount of cash. That's a big investment. And you're not really getting much for it above the PS4. It's still a great console. There's still great games for it. But again, if I haven't got either console right, if I've got no console right now, do I want to buy a PS5 or a PS4? You know what? If I'm being, I hate to say this, but if I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't buy either of those. I'll buy an Xbox Series S or Series X, whatever it's called, because even the games that you do like, and you have like God of War's coming out soon, Spider Man's coming out at some point, Wolverine, all these like big, AAA title games, PS5 exclusive games as well. We're looking forward to. I know they're gonna cost £70, £80, like £80 for a game. It's so steep. I think I paid like 70 for Call of Duty Cold War, and it was terrible, so I sold it. And I took a loss on that because I've just sold it second hand. FIFA, I spent £70 on. Again, I sold that recently. Took a loss. It's just it's not a fun game. I can't play. It's not backwards compatible, and all my friends still have PS4s, so it's like I'm not really playing with anybody. So online was cool, but I made my Ultimate Team as good as I wanted it to be. I got to Division 2. Don't need it no more. Sold it. Because Arsenal were playing crap, so I didn't really want to be around them at the moment. Spider-Man Miles Morales was a good game, but even that, there was a bug where I got the platinum trophy. I got all the trophies I needed, but it never like loaded. They never gave me the platinum. And when I'm going through my trophies on the PlayStation actual trophy list, it will say I've got every single other one, but it just won't give me the platinum one. I'm like, surely this, like, I don't know what bug this is or why it's not fixed yet, but fix it. And yeah, there's just so many things like that. That's not really that big of a deal. Like bugs and stuff are fine. Having dust in the console is not that deep. I don't care about it. The controller getting a bit dirty is fine. Like it's something you're gonna use. It's gonna happen anyways. But do I really want to spend £450 on it? And I think one of the things I saw a lot of reports with analog drift. I've had none of that, to be completely honest. My analogs have been fine. Unlike my Switch, which is drifting like crazy. The PS5 has been completely fine. But yeah, there's just no games for it. There's no games for it. And I'm sitting around playing it sometimes, looking at my brother when I go back home playing on PS4. I'm like, what? What's the difference? Why do I do this? It's quieter and it loads faster. But is that worth 450 or 470, if not more pounds? That's up to you to decide. That's up to you to decide. I'm not going to sell mine. In hindsight, if I hadn't bought it, I wouldn't be buying one right now. I'll be totally honest, I wouldn't buy one. The reason why I said Xbox is because it's a bit cheaper, but the main benefit is that you get Xbox Game Pass, which is like what £10 a month or something, maybe even less than that. And with Game Pass, you get access to like AAA, recently released AAA titles as well. So you're not really losing out much. You're paying £70 for a game versus like £10 a month. You're paying for 7 months of Xbox Game Pass just to play a game once on the PS5. Like it's not worth it. When you think about it like that, especially if you think you're clever, spending instead of getting a disc version, I'm going to save £100 to get a discless version. Now you're paying £80, £7 up front, and you can't even do anything with it. Once you complete the game, it's just there. You can't give it back. You can't sell it on. That money's gone. That money's down the drain. That's kind of why I still get the disc version, so I can sell it afterwards. So I've kind of broken even. I think I made about 30 quid, I think, on FIFA 22 when I sold that. I made like 40, I think, on Ratchet and Clank. I made some money on Cold War and I sold that. So the difference I've made in selling old discs has recouped the balance between the discless version and the disc version anyway. So I'm cool, I'm chilling. But it's something to consider. something to consider. The Xbox Game Pass, you don't need no disc. You just pay a fixed monthly cost, and you have the entire game library. Fine, that's it. You're chilling. Uh, so that yeah, if you are looking for a console right now, get an Xbox. I'm sorry, I hate saying it, and it really bothers me because it's not really PlayStation's fault that it's bad. There's just no support for it. And these titles are coming. You know, God of War's coming soon, Spider Man's coming soon, Wolverine's coming soon. But I'm not gonna advise someone to buy something right now that they're not really gonna enjoy for another. You know what? If you haven't already got one, you can still get Ratchet and Clank and some of the earlier games, Demon Souls, and you can enjoy that up until these other games come out. But even then, Spider Man and Wolverine aren't due until 2023, I don't think. So it depends. Take this for what it's worth, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to get a console right now, I'd say get an Xbox. I haven't really enjoyed the PS5. It's been good. It's a good console. It's better than the PS4, but you're paying for something that's like better than like I'm not paying for a PS5. I'm paying for like a PS4 Pro. It kind of feels like. So I'm just holding out until I get some new features. But yeah, that's been it from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. You know, if you want another update in 6 months' time, I can let you know what the PS5 is saying. Then, you know, maybe I might even start a gaming channel, make some leverage something from this. But in my books, if I'm being totally honest, the PS5 has been a total flop.